Crouse. Leap Year, a new opposites attract romantic comedy, stars Amy Adams and Matthew Goode as the metaphoric oil and water. She's a perfectionist, he isn't. She's pushy, he's laid back. She doesn't do quaint, and he is, well, quaint. It's the standard rom-com setup, but instead of the usual New York setting, director Anand Tucker places the action in the picturesque Irish countryside. The action begins in Boston, where uptight Anna, played by Adams, has become tired of waiting for her yuppie scum cardiologist boyfriend of 4 years to propose. Taking matters into her own hands and citing an obscure Irish tradition that declares it impossible for a man to refuse a woman's proposal on Leap Day, she decides to ambush him on February 29th while he's in Dublin on business. Delayed by bad weather, she lands in a remote Irish village and begins the long road trip to Dublin, accompanied by Declan, played by Matthew Goode, a rough-hewn local who agrees to take her to the big city in return for enough money to save his failing pub. Now, rom-coms are predictable beasts. We know who is going to end up with who, because if we don't, I guess it would be a romantic suspense movie, and really, who would pay to see that? The trick to making an effective rom-com, though, is to keep the ride interesting all the way up to the final and inevitable loving embrace between the two leads. At this, Leap Year is only maybe partially successful. Adams and Goode have the lion's share of screen time, and while they are both charming, good actors, neither is doing their best work here. Where is the interesting Adams of Sunshine Cleaning, or Enchanted's lovable Adams? For that matter, as a love interest, Goode was far more effective with 1/10 of the screen time in A Single Man, and generated way more heat as Charles Ryder in the generally restrained Brideshead Revisited from a couple of years ago. Both put up a good fight, but are beaten by material that is beneath them. Amy Adams really deserves better than to share a scene with a herd of really unresponsive cows. Worst of all, for actors of Adams and Goode's stature, neither really makes the material his or her own. Now, I could imagine any number of actors playing these parts, and for this movie to really work, I shouldn't have been able to imagine that the movie would have been pretty much the same if it had starred Renee Zellweger and Gerard Butler. Leap Year isn't absolutely terrible. In fact, for a January rom-com, it's a step up from New in Town or 27 Dresses, but it is really average. It's just another mildly amusing, predictable entry in the generally mindless genre that badly needs a shot in the arm. Now, if only Quentin Tarantino would make a romantic comedy. Richard Crouse.